Hello, everyone. Pleasure to be here with you today. My name is Etienne. Welcome to this session where we talk more about Copilot. First thing first, like for the probably other session you've seen today, please take some time at the end to scan this QR code and rate our session so we can improve in the future. So as I said, my name is Etienne. I am a software engineer at Microsoft. I'm working as part of the Visual Studio team. The last few years, I've been working on the text editor of Visual Studio, some search tools, and more recently, Copilot. And today, I'm with my good friend, Simona.
Hi everyone, my name is Simona Liao, and I'm a product manager in the Visual Studio GitHub Copilot team. I mainly worked on Copilot features inside the editor, such as the gray text that give you autocomplete code, next edit suggestions, adaptive paste, and some other features in the editor. Yeah. Today, Etienne and I were super excited to tell you about what is the latest and coolest features that our team has been working really hard to deliver. I'm sure you have already heard Copilot, agent, MCP, those words like a million times before joining our session today. So let's really dive deep into them and show you live what they're capable of. And then before jump right into it, I want to do a quick temperature check to see where you all are at with this AI programming journey. So please raise your hand if you have used gray text or code completions in VS before. Okay, that's like 90%. Please keep your hands up if you have tried Chat Assistant. Okay, still around 90%. Remain your hands up if you have already tried out the really cool agent mode. Cool. Let's dropping to 50%. I think we've all seen how fast this AI programming industry evolved in the past couple of years. At first, it was starting with IntelliCode, which give you single line, whole line completions, or some repeated suggestions that is powered by a local LLM hosted on your machine. And then later, we have introduced GitHub Copilot to give you more powerful multi-line code suggestions. And then we start to see slowly those Copilot support migrating outside of your editor into a separate window, which is the Chat Assistant, where you can not only get new code, you can also bounce ideas with Copilot, having it as your own personal assistant. And then latest, we have seen Chat being upgraded with a really cool agent mode, which is an autonomous agent that can complete tasks for you end to end, which really performs like your teammate. And so that's the high-level overview. And Etienne, could you give us a brief introduction of what is the demo project we're going to work on today?
Yeah, so today we will decide to make a demo using a software called DevToys. It is a project that I made by myself in my spare time just for fun. And I'm curious here, raise your hand if you ever heard of DevToys. I see a few hands, nice. Thank you very much, I really appreciate. So DevToys is a UWP app that I made with a good friend of mine from university, Benjamin Tito. We did that back in 2021. I was before the AI hype. And essentially, it's a Swiss Army knife for developers. So all these potentially tiny websites you randomly use to like format a JSON or encode, decode a JWT token or encode or decode some base64 text. Now you can do that with beautiful looking native app on Windows. So we decided to take this as an example today, but with a twist. Essentially, all these tiny tools in question that my app contains, we basically remove most of them and we'll try to reproduce some of them using entirely Copilot and not coding ourselves. So yeah.
Exciting. Could you show us the DevToys you have?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me go at my computer here. And DevToys is this app. Again, if you haven't seen, this is DevToys 1.0. We have DevToys 2.0 that has been released sometime last year, which is a beta. It's a preview. This essentially this tool gives you just a bunch of tiny tools. If I take the JSON formatter that I mentioned, I click here and poof, now I can type some JSON and it will be formatted. Very simple. We have a website for it. It's right here. Right now, we advertise DevToys 2.0, but again, today we'll work on DevToys 1.0, mainly because it's just easier, because 2.0 evolved a lot and is much more complex. So we'll use 1.0, it's easier. And yeah, this tool is free and open source. Again, it's made by me and my friend. It's not a Microsoft product, so yeah. free and open source. And yeah, we almost have 30,000 stars on GitHub. So we're almost at 30. I invite you to go ahead and click this start button so we can finally reach 30,000.
Cool. Well, this is such a really cool open source project you have. And I see that while you were scrolling, you have almost like 80 contributors
Yes.
to our project. That's cool. But with so many people trying to contribute and create a PR for you, how do you manage to keep your repo clean throughout the time?
So obviously we have some issues, a little bit too many issues perhaps here. But essentially we have a contributing file in which we give a bunch of instruction to our contributors on how they can contribute. So essentially we mention how to set up your repository, how to translate the app if you want. We mentioned some information regarding the architecture of the app. So how you can create a new tooling within the app, and then some like coding style that we will appreciate you to respect.
Cool. So since today's challenge we have is to have Copilot in VS really work as a contributor, just like those have contributed to your project before. So I believe it's super important for Copilot to also be aware of these important guidelines, so it's contributing in a ideal way. I know that in Copilot in VS, when you are talking to Copilot in the chat window, you can always use the pound sign to reference any file to feed it to Copilot. So just as what Etienne is showing here. So you can manually pound and reference, thank you for zooming in, and reference the contributing markdown every time. But that's pretty tedious. Like you have to type it once and once again. So is there an easy way that we can just have Copilot always remember to follow these rules?
Well, I'm glad that you asked that. So yes, there is a way. So it's called the Copilot instructions. It's essentially a file that you can add to your repository and that will give Copilot some instruction every time you do a prompt into Copilot. So let me switch to the folder view into my Solution Explorer. So now I'm kind of leaving my solution, going to folder view, and I will extend my .github folder. And inside of this, I will create a new file, which I will name copilot-instructions with a S .md. If you don't remember this name right now, it's okay. It's on the documentation online. So now I have just a markdown file. I'll be able to put some basically some prompt instructions in here. So I have some that I pre-made here. And essentially this indicates things like, oh, this is DevTools is a UWP app. We are using this framework for dependency injection. Let me zoom a bit there. There we go. So we're using this framework for dependency injection. We are using this and that control, and highly important, call me Big Boss. I want Copilot to call me Big Boss. It's very, it feeds my ego. I really like that. Joke aside, what else can I do? I can put my contributing there. So I will go into the codes and get the content of my contributing file and simply paste it and save. Now, how about we give it a try?
Yeah, let's see if Copilot will actually obey these rules, including the big boss one.
Okay, so let me go into Copilot here, and I will ask a question like, what interface should I implement when I want to create a new tool in DevTools? And now let's see what happened. So in the reference, we can see that it's included, it automatically attached the Copilot instruction.nd. That's the file that I just created earlier. So it finds it automatically and it's attached it. And now I can see that while it's searching for a lot of things into my repository, but it looks like, hey, Big Boss, you're supposed to use iTool Provider, which is the interface that I mentioned into my contributing. So yeah, now we can see that it actually found it and got the right answer.
That's super convenient. So we don't have to worry about, oh, am I always attaching the correct references file? Just throw whatever you think are important into this Copilot instructions.markdown. And I think this could be really useful in the engineering case is like every team has their own preferences on how you should work with this code base. Maybe you are working on really outdated code, so there are special instructions you want Copilot to be aware of. And then once you create this markdown file, it's really easy to share it and distribute across your team, so everyone have it in their VS, and you all are producing the code in the correct style, and you don't have to like later step in and fix anything. Yeah, so that's really cool.
Yeah, but you know what? There's something actually even more cool that I kind of want to
Oh, really?
Yes. So it's not quite released yet, but I will tell you about something that is coming very soon. So here I had to manually edit my Copilot instructions file in order to have Copilot, doing things. But very soon you will have Copilot that will suggest you, based on what you're doing with it, to actually write directly into your contributing file, for example. So your other contributor will have the information. And similarly, it will be able to write into your README, this kind of thing. So we can, in the future, basically being enhanced into having more instruction.
So you don't have even to write it yourself. Copilot will be able to pick it up.
Yes, exactly.
That's really cool. Wow, looking forward to that. So now we have Copilot understand what is the rules and guidelines for this repo. Maybe let's try build and see where we're at.
Sure.
With DevToys right now.
Yeah. So as I said, this is a version of DevToys that we prepare for this demo where we remove most of the tools, and I will simply try to build and run these projects. So let's go into the output window. As you can see, there are a few, kind of a shame of that, but there are a few vulnerability here. I'm using an older version of Newtons of JSON. That's because, again, this is DevToys 1.0, not 2.0. This is not the most recent version. So this branch is behind time of date. So we won't fix that today. That's not the goal. However, I'm seeing something interesting here.
There's a build error?
Yeah, we have a build error, my bad. So I see that we have something that it does not understand. It does not recognize this name, view moled property. I really don't know who did that, really. So something I want to highlight here is that when you have an error into your error list, you can put your mice onto an error and use Copilot to try to fix the issue. But you know what? You can do something else that, if I'm not wrong, other ID don't do yet. You can directly reference the log from output window into Copilot. So let's find here, for example, I have my error is on this line. I will select this. And now we go into Copilot chats. I will create a new chat. And I will press hashtag outputs. And now you can see I have multiple output options, including the one that's indicated line number 5, which is the line that's selected. And so I will simply click on this one. And let me type that again. There we go. And now we ask, fix my issues.
So automatically, Copilot understands that you were selecting that thing from output window, and you don't have to manually copy paste things over.
Yes, I don't have to copy paste the logs anymore. And while, let's be honest, this is kind of a silly demo because this is a very simple build issue. But something where I found the output window very useful is if your project builds correctly, that it runs in a way that there is no runtime exception, but it does not behave the way you want. For example, you try to connect to a service and it does not, and the only thing that you have available for you are logs. Now you'll be able to attach the logs directly into Copilot, and Copilot will be able to help you investigating these logs in question.
Yeah, so it will be more efficiently using the logs, leveraging the logs you have.
Exactly. So let's see. So it found out that basically my error was a typo. Instead of being view moled property, it should be view model property. That makes more sense. Now we just click the apply button.
What is happening over here, with the streaming effect?
Yeah, so essentially Copilot is placing all the changes doing for my file, and it's highlighting the changes that it did. So here, for example, I can see on this line, I got where we can see it fixed the typo, and now it asked me to just press tab to accept the change. So I will do that, press tab, save, and try to run again.
So I think this is super cool to show that Copilot is not just about always giving you new code, only helping you with new code, but it can also help you with fix the bugs you have, fix the errors. Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's let it build a little bit, and normally we'll see that version of DevToys with many, many less tools. So it's taking a few seconds here.
Yep.
All right, how's your day otherwise?
Good. There has been going to a lot of sessions since 8 a.m. There's a lot of mentions of Copilot. So it's cool. How many of sessions have you all gone before? Did you all go to the keynote earlier? Yeah? Yeah, so I've heard about some of the cool Copilot news already.
I am ashamed of that. It fails for some reason, but that's okay. I still have a prepared version here. All right, so this is the version we work on today, where it just have JSON formatter and base64, and essentially everything else got removed.
Okay, so we only have 2 tools to work with, and we want to build more today.
Yes.
Cool. So now we have a good understanding of where we are at with dev toys right now, and then what is the ideal state we want to build. So today we'll respond this challenge with two features mainly, which is agent mode and MCP. For those who have not used them in Visual Studio yet, let me briefly talk about why they are so cool, why everyone is talking about it. So agent mode is not just another feature in the chat window. It actually really upgrade your IDE, giving it a brain and hands. So by giving the brain, I mean now agent mode is capable of reading, having deep analysis, understanding of your code base, and analyze a plan when you give it a when you give it a task. And then by hands, I mean it will have a lot of tools available to it, where it can edit, run terminal commands, fix errors, and do a lot of really cool stuff. So you prompt it, and agent mode will get it done from end to end. And while we're talking about tools, that is what actually made agent mode really powerful and truly extensible. So let's talk about MCP. So MCP, or Model Context Protocol, you can imagine it as a smart plugin that connects the Copilot inside your Visual Studio to where your work actually lives. So you can think about USB-C. It provides a general connector for all the physical devices out there. MCP standardizes the way of how outside applications can provide additional context and additional tools to your LLM or agent so it can interact with your workflow. So no matter where your work lives, like Azure, GitHub, some random monitoring dashboard you use, just connect it, and Copilot will be able to automatically grab all the information, interact with it out there. So you don't have to hunt everything down. You don't have to keep copy-pasting things over. Copilot in Visual Studio will be able to grab it for you. So that's a lot of big words and a lot of hype around MCP and agent. And today we'll do 2 live demos to show what they are really capable of.
Yeah, so the first demo is essentially to try to use as minimal natural language prompt as possible or like short one essentially, to try to reproduce one of these tools that we have in DevToys. The tool I will try to make is XML formatter, very similar to JSON formatter, and we'll see if Copilot is able to reproduce that by itself by taking some example. And the second one will be spec-driven development powered by MCP.
Yep, and then I'll be working on that later.
Yep.
So let's jump right into your demo first, Ikin.
Sure. So let me grab Visual Studio here. And first thing first, I will create a new thread, and I will switch to agent mode. So I will have to switch here at the bottom from ask mode to agent mode. And then I'll be able to select what provider I want to use, what LLM I want to use. So recently we added Claude Sonnet 4 by Anthropic. And personally, I really like it. I find it's slower than GPT 4.1, but it provides sometimes better answer depending, of course, of what I'm doing. I tend to go back and forth between them depending on the task I'm trying to achieve. Here, I will stay with Claude Sonnet 4 for this specific case. So I'm going therefore to agent mode, and I will I will use the following prompts. Actually, I will just type it manually here. So create a new tool in DevToys using hashtag. Let's see what we already have into this project that I can reuse. JSON formatter, maybe. I will add this file. And base 64. So let's take this one. So here I'm just attaching some context for Copilot. So using this file as example, so create a new tool in DevToys using this file as example, we will create an XML formatter. And that's it. And now I can just pray go.
Yeah, let's go.
So now that will take some time, so it still call me Big Boss. I like that. So Copilot now starts reading a bunch of files. So I mentioned it, the JSON formatter, I mentioned it, the base 64. I see it's looking for XML formatter, but it doesn't necessarily find much, or I find some, let's say, things that I left from when I removed a bunch of code from the repository, but essentially it doesn't find the tool. It's also looking at a bunch of things like how is my JSON formatter made, and it will try to understand all the architecture. And based on that, it will basically learn from my code. And now I see that it suggests, it tells a plan of what it's about to do. So it's about to create a bunch of files to create my tool in question. And yeah, it keeps going, and there we go. Now I see it starts creating the first file into my solution.
Cool. Okay, I think this is the editing tools trying to edit the files. While we give agent mode a few minutes to finish running this, maybe let's swap, and then I can show what I get with the spec-driven development to you all.
Yeah, go.
So unplug, plug it into my laptop. So as you all know, I'm a PM, and then part of a PM's job is writing spec. So for today's presentation and demo, I want to have a URL encoder decoder tool following the existing encoder decoder tool. So I prepared a very simple spec with the help of Copilot. So I had a little summary of what it should be like, and I put a screenshot. I just grabbed it from the existing dev tools we have, but you can imagine this could be your designer give you a Figma link, and then you take a screenshot from Figma and say, oh, this should look like this, and I have a little description of what is it used for, and then what are some use cases. So
Nice.
yeah, so you remember that how I was talking about MCP make your agent mode really powerful, so it will have direct access to where your work lives. So this is where my work is currently at, is in this GitHub repository, and I don't have to manually copy paste the entire spec over, but then I can extend my agent with other MCP tools, so you can automatically grab this information. So how I do that is by setting up an MCP server for GitHub. So let's switch to my Visual Studio. And here are the existing built-in tools that come in for all of you. So some of them are edit files. We saw it in ATN's demo that it was trying to create new files, find files, get errors, get files, all of the good stuff. And now I want to extend this by adding the GitHub one. Oh, and also something really important that you need to check is when using MCP, first make sure that you have enabled it in tools options. So because currently it's still in the preview stage, so it might not be automatically enabled for you. So I can just search MCP. Here, I was able to see the tool, so that means it was already enabled. But for you all, remember to check this. But we're gonna GA MCP soon, later in August, so this will be automatically enabled for all of you. Okay, so now I see the existing tools I have. To get additional tools, I need to configure a mcp.json file. So I will put it under my solutions items folder. I'll do add.
So that is similar to the Copilot instruction file credits. You kind of have to remember the name, but again, it's documented on internet. You can find it.
Yeah, so you need to be the exact location and this exact name called .mcp.json. And this is one location I can put it here. And you can also put it under your user profile, like for me, it will be under Simona Liao. And then that will be a global MCP JSON configuration that will be used across all your solutions and projects. So for me, I just want it to be used for this deploy, so I'm gonna put it under my solution items. Oh, I think, did I?
Oh,
yeah.
You did a typo in the name, I think.
Yeah, I probably did a typo, so it tried to create two different things. So let's restart. Add new item .ncp.json.
That looks right to me.
Yep, I probably did
Nice.
two dot earlier. Okay, so now I have an MQ.json file. Next step is to figure out what are the MCP servers I want to add and find the correct JSON configuration.
So how do you do that? Because like right now it's just a JSON, and well, I have no idea what I'm supposed to put there.
Yeah, so there's a really good resource I recommend all of you to check out and browse, which is the, let me open my browser again. The MCP GitHub repo, the official one. MCP was a protocol first created by Anthropic, and then later was embraced by the entire AI community. And then there's a lot of official third-party integrations like available MCP tools for you all to extend.
You have Sazon here now?
Yeah, so there's a lot. I love to shop and then look at what are the options I have. So how many of you are Azure developers? Great. So check it out. We have Azure MCP tool here that can give MCP client access to the key Azure services like the storage, Cosmos DB, CLI, and more. And then if we keep scrolling, we'll have the GitHub one. I'll open it so I can take a look later. And then if you keep scrolling, we also have a bunch of Microsoft ones that I would love to use. Here. Yeah, so we have the Microsoft Clarity, Dataverse, and the Microsoft Learn docs. And personally, I find this one really helpful. So it will give the agent in Visual Studio access to the documentation, basically the Microsoft Learn. Yeah.
So like the website microsoftlearn.com.
Yeah.
Or something like this, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we all know sometimes LLM can come up with something that does not actually exist in the library. Part of it is a challenge called hallucination that all LLM basically face. And also part of the reason is all the training data that all the model have was kind of outdated, but then these library can come up with new things pretty quickly. So by connecting this MCP, you're basically extending the knowledge base that your agent mode has. So
I really like that.
yeah. We're going to have more higher quality suggestions.
Yep.
So here, for example, for the Microsoft Learn, I can see the JSON configuration it gives me. And then I can also check out the ones from GitHub. So here you have two options to set up your GitHub MCP server. One way is to set a remote server. So it's hosted on GitHub, and you're just referencing it using the HTTP URL. And there's the other way you can host it is locally. So it's going to be hosted on your machine, and then you need to use Docker and everything to set it up. So for me, I prefer the remote server just because it's easier. And I've previously already prepared my configuration. I was just copy pasting what is here. So let me copy it over so we can set it up. So let me make this window smaller. We can see all of it here. So I saved my MCP JSON, and something maybe you all automatically noticed is these some controls and text pop up in between the lines automatically after I hit save. So that is the code length support we have for MCP. These allow you to easily interact with your MP servers. In order to see this, you need to make sure your file is named correctly in the correct location, and then you need to enable code length as well. So for example, it will allow me to just easily hit restart. And then now I have the Microsoft Learn MCP server is active. And for this one, I want to highlight something is because it's the GitHub server, it needs to have my information about my personal GitHub account so it can access all the information. And
so you have to put your an access token or something there?
Yeah, and the good news is I don't have to copy paste my personal token like the path directly into JSON. So I don't need to worry about automatically push my personal stuff to public repo.
Yeah, but please don't commit your access token into the code directly. Don't do that.
Yeah, so I want to highlight the experience here. You have two options, the inputs and then the authentication. So one way is you can configure inputs that you want to feed into your MCP server. So here is, I'm going to set the GitHub personal access token as inputs. So you can click the code length control again, and you'll see this window, the server inputs, and it allows you to copy paste your path in here. And this is pretty good, as I mentioned, so you don't have to put it in your JSON directly. But there's an even better and smoother experience is by clicking this manage authentication control. So this is the OAuth experience we have for MCP server. And because I already logged in my GitHub account for using GitHub Copilot, so it just automatically acknowledge that. And I can select between which account I want to use and click OK. Easy as that. Don't have to go to the website out there and find out what are the and then copy paste my path. So that's super easy, and this is available for you right now. And currently, it only supports accounts that are integrated in the VS keychain. So that means your Microsoft account and GitHub account. But the good news is coming up soon in August, we're going to support this really smooth OAuth experiences for external providers as well. So you don't have to copy paste your very sensitive information around a lot of times. Yep. So now all the tools I have are active. Let's take a look to see if they're actually showing up in my tools menu. Let's go back to this Copilot chat window. Click here. And you see, we have all of them here.
There you have 81. That's a lot.
Yeah, so that's all the automatic GitHub tools I have. There's 81 of them. And there are some Microsoft Docs, the Learn documentation ones.
Is it me or the one like the Microsoft Fetch was not there yesterday?
I think so. I think yesterday it was just there was only one of them.
Okay, so there's a new one, I guess. Nice.
Cool. So there's 81 of them, and I think sometimes we just want to enable all of them, right? We have this kind of default or intuitive thinking that the more tools, the better, because we know tools give agent mode extra abilities. But actually, the fact is the reverse. Every tool comes with a hidden cost, and this is true for all the LLM models. Like when you give it too many tools, it will explode its context window, and it will get confused. Like the agent will get confused. Like so, not the agent in Visual Studio, but its models will be like, oh, which tools I should use? What should I do here? And you get like lower quality results and slower results. So the good practice here is actually only look through the tools carefully and only enable the ones you need to use. So quantity is not the thing, but then the quality of the tools you need.
So if I can kind of paraphrase what you just said, essentially if I was checking everything, Copilot will have like 80 tools to select, and it may simply not be smart enough to actually know which one exactly you should use. Meanwhile, here you're giving it a restricted list, which give it less choice, but therefore, since you know which one may be useful for Copilot, you may end up with a better results.
Yeah, exactly. And now I'm just going through all these to see which tools I want to use. So I already got a few.
Can you use the filter tool at the top?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Good. How come I just didn't realize it?
That's okay.
I think there's the one is about getting issues that I want to use that will help me. Oh yeah, this one, the get issue details. And once you select them, these will carry from session to session, so you don't have to reselect every time. Yeah, so it'll be pretty easy. Now we have the MCP tools set up and we're ready to go. So what do you think about this install experience? I feel like personally it's pretty smooth. I was just copy pasting JSON and then save things.
Yeah, so I agree it's kind of smooth, but at the same time, you have to copy paste JSON. And I'm the kind of person who doesn't like having to do that. I don't like having to write into my Copilot instruction myself. I don't like having to use command prompts, these kind of things. So actually, I kind of want to highlight something here and announce something. As a software engineer, part of the Visual Studio team, I'm super proud here to announce that in the next few weeks, you will be able to just go on a website such as GitHub, click on a button that will be something like install into Visual Studio, and it will automatically open Visual Studio and install the MCP server for you by adding this JSON directly into your file. I'm super proud because I'm the one who is currently implementing this feature. I was literally working on this week. Not that if it's not out, it's because I'm here speaking with you, so that's also my fault.
Which is also important. So we are saying basically ETN is soon we'll be able to just have one button here, and then you click it, it will automatically install MCP server for you.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, looking forward to that. Very cool. So now let's transition back, and let's actually test it out to see my MCP server if it's working. So I wanted to grab all open issues in this repo I'm working on, VS Live Demo Dev Toys. And here I want to highlight the models again. I'm using GPT-4.1 because this is not such a difficult task, in my opinion, just grabbing all the open issues so it can work faster. So let's hit enter.
All right.
Yep. And automatically it pops up this window. So here, while we're developing all these cool AI stuff, we also value security. And we know most of you all here probably are enterprise engineers. And when we are working for enterprise or a big corporate, security is a top priority. And I think earlier in one of the sessions my colleague Jesse was doing, and then a dev was asking, will Copilot delete all my files in my repo? Will that happen? And the good news is it won't. Whenever Copilot is trying to do something on your behalf using an external MCP tool, or it's trying to run some command in your terminal window, it will always ask for permission. So you can make sure Copilot is not going to do something sneaky behind your scene. And here you can configure how much permission you want to give it. So you can allow this time always allow in this session. So for me, I'm just gonna allow this time because I want to know what are all the commands Copilot is gonna do.
That's fair.
Here we have all the open issues, and I also love that it gives me a link, so I can just click onto them. And let's try clicking onto the one I was just showing you all with the URL encoder decoder. So I want to proceed. Yeah,
Nice.
correct link. So it's not just trying to hallucinate some random links there. So this is the correct one I want to use. And now I want to have Copilot read about issue number 10 and implement this. And here, because I wanted to do some coding task, I will switch back to Cloud Sonnet, even though it's slower, but it's gonna perform better. So I'll hit send. And again, it will ask me to give it permission to get the details about issue number 10. Oh. And now it's starting to explore the workspace to understand the structure, which we saw was similar in Etienne's example. So this is the tool calling process where agent got this task and is analyzing, oh, here are all the tools I have available to me, which I should leverage to help me complete the task I'm working on. So while I think we should give my agent like a couple minutes to finish running this, is it ready that we switch back to your laptop?
Yeah, it's really, actually, so the agent mode on my side finished, to be very honest and transparent with you, it finished about, I'd say 8 or 7 minutes ago.
Oh, wow, that's very fast. We talk too much.
Yeah, I'm not sure we talk too much, it's fast.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. So here we have the results of what my Copilot GitHub Copilot agent mode did. So essentially, we can see everything that it did here. So let me go from the top. We can see the prompt that are originally typed there. Let's say like this. Can I scroll? No. Oops, whoops. My bad. 1 second. Let me learn this tool. Okay. So we have essentially the prompt I typed at the beginning, and if you remember, it started to look for a bunch of coding to my repository, and then it made a plan and it started to write a bunch of files. So it did a bunch of work by itself. I can see it tried. So I think it tried to build here, but it appears that, you see, it tried to use the .NET build command line, and it actually failed because DevToys is a UWP app. And for those who are familiar with it, essentially you have to use MS build in this case and not .NET build. So this is a little bit of hallucination here, but nothing too worrisome, because as we can see, it actually kept going. And I think it actually, I think it kind of find out, okay, it's a UWP project, so it cannot use .NET build.
So it was able to recover from the error it made previously and then iterate again and get things done.
Yes. At some point, it took a pause. So I just typed continue, and it just decided to continue by itself. And yeah, it kept reading things. Like, for example, reading here is being reading the errors that I have into like my, into my projects, into my error list, to see if there's anything that it could potentially, like, there was an error, maybe it has to fix it. And so it continued. We essentially did a lot of monologue like I'm doing right now. And then at some point, it decided to build, this time the right way, and it actually succeeded to build. And then at the end, when it considered that it was done, it made me a summary of what it did. So it gave me some information. I can read this. Right now, I won't necessarily spend a lot of time at reading all this inside because, hey, this is a demo. And then I have all the code that it edited here, just above my chats, and it's ready for me to review. And I'm saying review because, well, let's say, today, again, it's a demo. We only have 1 hour, so I cannot go ahead and do a code review with you folks. That will take way too long. So I will do something that generally I don't recommend, but essentially what we call vibe coding, which is accept blindly what the LLM suggests. I reassure you, I don't do that at work, but again, here's a demo, so I will do it.
Yeah, so like, as most of here are enterprise developers, we cannot just take whatever Copilot gives us. It's important for engineers to actually step in, review, and take the driver's seat, basically.
Yes, essentially, yes. I'm still the pilot, and this is Copilot.
Yep.
So yeah, so with this being said, so it already built the app. I also deployed it on my machine because if you remember during my first demo, there was a build error. I'm not sure exactly why it failed, but essentially it just recovered and it works fine. So I decided just to deploy the app while not waiting for it. So also we won't have to wait for the build to go through. So essentially I deployed my app. Now I can just run it and we'll see what Copilot did. And while I started the app, actually just saw this page. I actually did not try the tool yet, so I don't know if it actually works or not. So we'll see this in live. That's the interesting aspect of live demo. So as we can see, it did something very similar to the JSON formatter. That was the goal. I mean, XML formatter is very similar, right? So if I go into JSON formatter, that's the one that I made myself, not with Copilot. Let's just see how it looks like, and then we compare with the XML formatter just to see if there is any difference that is interesting. So now let me go into XML and let's pray for the demo god. And it's very similar. Nice.
Oh.
So I don't know if you noticed, but when I click on one of the tools, we don't see it anymore, but there was a spinner here in the middle of the screen. That's because DevTools is using, for the text editor, is using Monaco editor, which is essentially the same text editor that you have in VS Code. This one is free and open source, and it's web-based. So basically, this area here on my screen is essentially a web view, but the rest of the app is native. So that's why there was this spinner, it was loading the web view. Anyway, how about we try to format an XML? Huh?
Yeah, let's see if it actually works.
Okay, so first thing first, I see root element is missing. Okay, we'll see if it works. So again, this is live demo. Huh? There's no trick there. So if it fails, it fails. Why nice. It's in that. Okay, can we try 4 spaces? It works.
Yay!
Yay! What about minimize? Yep. It works too. Nice.
Whoa! This is live demo and it's working.
Yes. Yeah, so I want to be honest with you folks. We did some dry run of this demo multiple times last week, and multiple times this demonstration essentially failed. It failed for many reasons, but I think the most recurrent one was essentially the prompt that I typed. The prompt was simply kind of too short, was not giving enough context. And I guess we'll be able to do a sort of battle with you, Simona, and see whether spec-driven development works.
Let's
hopefully.
see if my approach also works.
Are you done on your side?
So I'm almost done. I think it's just trying to build the solution. I can maybe go do a rundown and see what Copilot already generated.
Sure, I feel I can continue on my side too. What do you prefer?
I think let's take a look at my side. It should be finished building pretty soon.
Go ahead.
I'll unplug and then plug in. I think while Etienne mentioned is like with the prompt you give agent mode, because that's all the input agent mode got. So it's really helpful when you write some really more detailed prompt, like what you were doing, like referencing the correct files. I think that was helpful for agent.
Mm-hmm. So what do you have on your side?
Yes. So let's.
Can you go from the top maybe?
Yes.
Like almost the top.
So yeah, let me close the summary window. Also zoom it in. Yeah, so I was telling it to implement this issue number 10. And at first, it was doing a lot of tool calling, trying to make sure it gets enough context before jump right into the task. So it knows enough about what it's going to do. And then later, it crafts a plan similar to what we saw in Etienne's case. And I want to highlight, I really love that when Copilot is really sharing all the details with me. So it does not really only help you build something, it also helps you understand a code base. So imagine you're onboarding to a new project and you have this big code base, you don't know where to start learning about it. So Copilot can be really helpful for you as well. So personally, when I was practicing this demo, like before, I know nothing about the architecture of DevToys because I didn't build it. But then just by iterating with Copilot, it has been telling me a lot of information on what are the front end, what are the back end, all the necessary knowledge about DevToys. So it's another great use case of agent. To help you ramp up of a code base.
Nice.
So then it start editing the files in the order that it talks about in the plan. And later, it ran a build, and it was successful. And I think it was just trying to check errors. That's also something I really like is Copilot will always try to build and check errors. So it will leave you at a clean state so that you can run instead of just throw you a bunch of random code with errors. So that won't happen with agent mode, trying to always build and check. So
Okay, so I see it's not quite done yet, right? It keeps working there.
I think it was having successful build, but it was just trying to do extra checks.
Yeah. I guess it's simply not done yet, quite. Yeah, it's trying
I
to
think
build
this is
again.
the last build. I think we can just go click seeing the product once it wraps up this last build.
Sure.
And then while it's doing that, I just also want to quickly call out another little feature. Maybe some of you already noticed this agent mode is here. So this is the checkpoint. So whenever agent is going to make any edits to our file, it will create a checkpoint, which is a snapshot of what your repo looks like before it puts in any change. So even though most of the time, as I mentioned, it will do the build, it will make sure things are clean. But sometimes I'm just a person who is nervous, no matter whoever is touched my code, like maybe my colleague or Copilot. So this will make me feel more comfortable. Like I know I always have the option to restore and go back. So you can feel free to play around with Copilot agent. Yeah. Okay, let's see.
Right.
I think it finished.
Nice.
And now it gives me a very detailed summary and then kind of back to the point of how it actually teaches me about this repo while I'm interacting about it, around it. So
that's pretty nice to recommend like to your junior developer, I guess.
yeah, or
who is still learning onto your repository.
or you just have a new teammate joining your team, and then I know sometimes it's nice, you have those in person, you onboard them, but also this would just also improve the onboarding process as well. So while it's building, this is the moment of truth and see how spec-driven development works. Okay, finished.
Nice.
Building, yes, fingers crossed while it's opening. Oh, it automatically jumped to the JSON because I previously have the JSON file copied in my clipboard.
That's a fancy feature of Daystar. If you don't know this app, it will basically detect what you have in your clipboard, and if it finds that you have some JSON, it will suggest you the JSON format automatically.
That's really convenient.
But that's not the point.
Yeah, so let's see. So encoders, decoders, I do have the URL one here.
Right category.
And I think this is the exact UI that I paste in my spec. Let me pull it up. So it just have this configuration and then the two boxes. Let me pull up. So that's the exact UI.
Nice.
Yep, so it's following my spec. And now, thanks for the first round of applause. And the second round, let's see if it actually encode and decode this URL. So I copied it. And let me put it in. Yay, it worked.
Nice.
That was the correct encoding of this URL.
Yep.
Great. So we see both spec-driven development and then the natural language prompts work in this scenario. So I've already seen playing around with agent inside Visual Studio. But how many of you know that there's actually another agent outside your Visual Studio in GitHub.com, which is called the coding agent? Okay.
See a few hands. Nice.
Yep. So agent mode lives entirely in Visual Studio, which is great. You can have it help you out while you're doing development. But sometimes when you're working on one issue, one PR, and maybe you'll identify another issue, and then it will be awkward just to put every changes you want in one PR, and you want to start something else in parallel, right? So in that scenario, you can assign a task to coding agent that it will execute and work outside of your Visual Studio. So let me show you a use case, a scenario of that. So I'll start with a new thread. I forgot to keep the previous changes I made. So make sure you always keep the agent changes you have.
Well, if you want to keep that.
Yes, yep, if it worked. Okay, so let's bring up the official 1.0 dev toys. So we have a lot of tools. We already did 2 of them. Maybe we can have coding agent to do.
How about the password generator?
Yeah, this one seems fun. So I'll take a screenshot of this password generator.
So that screenshot could be like a mockup from Figma, for example, right?
Yep, exactly. And then I'm gonna tell agent that I have a prompt prep already, so I can also, at first I will copy paste the screenshot I have in here. But this is pretty convenient. If you don't know, Copilot has vision capabilities that you can copy paste images and it will be able to read and understand the image. And then I just have a very simple prompt that says, put it in. So write a spec to create a password generator tool under a new group called generator and follow the style of existing tools. Be clear and concise, use a screenshot as a UIF reference.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, and you notice that I swapped back to GPT-4.1 because I wanted to be faster. And then it does not need that much of analysis power.
I see.
And also, GPT-4.1 is the model that there's no limited number of limited requests you can use if you're a paid account. You can use as many of GPT-4.1 requests as you want. But at the Cloud Sonnet 4, you have only a set number of premium requests, so that will cost that. Okay, that was indeed pretty fast. And it gives me...
Wait, when you say, yeah, it's done. Okay, I didn't realize it was done.
Yeah, it was fast, right?
Okay.
So it have some UI UX requirements. So maybe let's actually check if this is the correct thing I put in the image. Like, did it actually was able to read the image I gave it to it? So let me pull up the real deploy and have things side by side. So you can see here, the first is length of password.
Yep.
Yep. And then lowercase characters, uppercase, digits, special characters.
There.
That's exactly the images in.
Yep.
I think this is super useful for whoever wants to do like a front-end development. Like, it's really hard to describe an image with words. You'd be like, I want this button on the right with how many of pixels in between. And this can save you so much time. You just feed it with a screenshot. So it's such a cool feature.
Yeah.
Who built this?
I just think it's me. That was months ago.
Yep. Cool. So just want to give you a shout out, Yijian. So we have this spec ready. And let's say open a new issue in this repo I'm working on, VS Live Demo Dev Toys.
Pretty sure I see you stressing about typing correctly, but I'm pretty sure it's fine if you do a typo there.
Yeah, I think that's the really cool part about LLMs is it will be able to understand typos and then still do the task correctly.
Yep.
Yeah, here. And again, this is the ask me for permission to create this issue on my behalf. And then I'll say allow this time.
Can we check on GitHub, like right when it's done, can you check on GitHub how it looks like?
Yeah, so it actually gives me a link here.
Nice.
And let's see if this is correct. Oh, I think my clipboard is not working. Then let me just go to the...
You can just go to the issues and you probably see it.
Yep.
There you go.
It is here. And then the exact full spec and screenshot for the implementation details. Cool. Let me swap back. And then this time I want to have the coding agent and on github.com to work on this. So assign Copilot to work on this new issue. I think this is something super cool that we keep you inside your IDE. When you have this maybe a side quest you want Copilot to work on, you don't have to jump outside to your GitHub repository and then click things over there and then context switch back. Now you can just handle everything within this agent mode in Visual Studio.
I find it's pretty nice also if like you are in the middle of doing something into your code base. And it happens sometimes to me that while I'm focusing on a task, you know, I scroll through some code and I see something that, oh my God, this should not be like this, or this is broken or something. And then it means that either I will ignore it, which is not good, or I should actually take some time to go into GitHub or Azure DevOps and open an issue and blah, blah, blah. Here I can just see that, select this piece of code maybe, briefly explain to Copilot, hey, what's wrong with this code, and have Copilot creating an issue for that on GitHub, for example, while I keep working on my other task.
Yeah, really seamlessly, and you don't have to interrupt your existing workflow. Yep. So the assign also when successfully, it says I assign Copilot, and I love this ice emoji. It means Copilot got this task and is looking into it, and it will first create a PR, which is a work in progress one. And then it will just say, thank you for assigning this to me. I'll start working on this. And then it will update as it makes progress. So what will happen, even though we won't have time today, is after some time, Copilot will shoot me an email and let me know there's a PR ready for me to review.
So wait, it's basically doing my job right now.
No.
So I'm fired, or what's going on?
No, it's exactly as what we were talking about earlier. Like, we cannot trust Copilot blindly. Like, as a developer, you are still the one who is in the driver's seat. Like, Copilot is super cool. It works like our teammates, but it's just another tool inside the IDE. Just like how an IDE won't get you all fired. So similar case with a Copilot. And then remember what we're talking about, you cannot just like wipe code, but you have actually review the PR, give suggestions, and then iterate with Copilot.
So if I can bring like a software engineer point of view on this, why, like, this was like, you will get fired, this was just for the joke, but for real, what I find interesting about this is that the things like the tiny bugs that are maybe tracked onto your GitHub or Azure DevOps, and that you never have time to work on them because they are not very important, but they're still bugs. It would be nice to fix them. These are the kind of things you may be able to assign to the Copilot, GitHub Copilot agent, to have it to work overnight while you are with your family, and at some point have potentially pull requests that potentially fix the issue in question.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a lot about developer joy and then reduce the toy, as what Matt talked about in the keynotes earlier today. So it's really like fixing bugs maybe is not the most fun part of development. So you can have a Copilot agent to help you with that, and you can focus on what's really important and what is intellectually challenging for you, and better use of your time.
Yep.
So now we've wrapped up my demo. Can we switch back to yours and try push the changes since it worked?
Absolutely. So let's go back into Visual Studio, and I had my change here. And well, let's imagine that I will do a proper review. Again, I won't do it because it's demo. But let's imagine I do a review here. I'm happy with everything. Let's just click keep. So now all my changes are here, and they appear into my Git changes here. Now what I can do is that I could ask Copilot to review the change and put some comments on it. Now, I know by experience, because we prepared this demo, that most of the time here, it may not put some comments. And I have a very good reason for that, because this whole code was generated by Copilot. So of course, it won't contradict itself by being auto-judging on its own code, right? So, oh, wow, it actually found some stuff. Okay, well, now I'm curious.
Maybe it's something about your dev toys.
Maybe.
Copilot has suggestions. Let's see. Oh, is the click not working?
No.
Oh.
Okay, well, maybe that was the fail of the day. I guess that was the fail of the day. So.
Yeah, I think what normally would happen is after you click, it will bring up the files. It has suggestions, and it will have this UI giving like a comment box, and then select the line of code it has a suggestion, and then give you a comment on why I think something can be improved for this scenario. But maybe here something got stuck.
Yeah, maybe something got stuck. That said, I can keep going. Let's imagine that I address all the comments. Now I can write a Git commit. I can write a message for my commits. So I can simply click on this icon with the kind of the sparkle on it, and you click on that, and now Copilot will generate the message for it. So let's give it a few seconds, and yeah, that is pretty nice. That said, personally, when I write commit messages, I tend to make them short. Here I see that it made multiple sentences and it took a few lines, and what I want to say here is that you can customize that. So I will click on cancel, and I will go into tools options.
Yeah, I think previously it said generating customized messages. So
nice.
Yeah.
So I will scroll down, and here you have an option. Oh, okay. I actually did not clear that from my from my demo. But that's essentially what you can do. You can put a custom thing here. Like, hey, I want to limit the commit message to 200 characters. How about let's try 50 characters?
Maybe also let's do something else, like adding emojis or smileys. So
good idea.
Copilot will do that.
Includes silly emojis into the messages, because why not? we can do it. So I press OK and click on that button again, and let's see if it does it.
Yeah, so if you zoom in, you'll be able to see it's saying generating customized message. That means Copilot understands the customized instructions you give it, and it's working on it. Cool.
Nice, and I see a few emojis. Nice.
Yeah.
Seems like it's longer than 50 characters though. Well, you know, it's LLM, sometimes it hallucinates.
Yeah, and I think aside from the silly emoji feature, and why I really like this customized commit message, is like it's easy to have a Copilot to just help you generate your commit message. So save you a couple of minutes, type it out. But sometimes you just have AI write something. It's very obvious. Oh, this is something generated by a robot, AI, and does not sound like you. Like when your teammates look at it, I was like, okay, AI wrote it. So I think this really give it a few personal touches to the commit messages. Like what is your daily routine? Like maybe you love using emojis, maybe you love something really short and succinct, and you can feed all those customized preferences into Copilot.
Yes.
Cool. So
Nice.
today we've seen how Copilot in Visual Studio could help us really from end to end. We started just with some lines of prompt or a prepared spec, and then Copilot went through, analyzed the task step by step, fix any bugs, errors it saw, and then gives us a successful build, and also help us with review and commits. So what would you say, ATN? What do you think Copilot did about the challenge today?
So I think, we saw the demo worked. So that was already something great because, again, to be transparent with you, they did not always work when we were preparing. I like how, I guess what I want to say here is that, again, in my demo had more chance to fail because I gave less context to Copilot. And we saw that when we practiced this demo with Simona, my demo failed multiple times while her almost always worked. So I guess the thing to learn here is that context is important. And that, yeah, spec-driven development, I guess, works pretty well. So the more spec, the more information you feed to the LLM, the more you have chance that it succeeds to do what you want.
Yeah, exactly. And how does Copilot, do you think Copilot is a helpful contributor in this scenario? How does Copilot compare to you and Benjamin previously when you're implementing dev toys without AI's help?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, that's right. I mentioned earlier that we started dev toys in 2021 before the AI hype. So all these tools, like the 30 tools that you saw on screen, we had to code them ourselves, and it was taking hours, if not days, for the most complex tools. And here we saw that in the span of 5-10 minutes, a little bit more maybe, Copilot basically wrote this tool for us, and I guess it's a gain of time in the end.
Yeah, so it's a huge productivity boost. And in addition to just increasing your productivity, is like the feeling of getting things done, right? So you save time on this, maybe some repetitive task or bugs fixing that you don't enjoy doing. So you can better allocate your time for the things you actually love developing. Yep. So now let's conclude and then talk about some other features we didn't get time to touch on.
Yeah, so there are many things we haven't been able to demo. I look a little bit at the live stream from this morning from the other room online. I saw that a few features I wanted to highlight already got highlighted, but it's okay, I will highlight them again. Personally, I really like the next edit suggestion and the adaptive pace. Partially, I know the person who worked on adaptive pace. It's not me, but I just want to give a shout out today to this person. The idea of adaptive paste, if you don't know, is like quite often you may copy some code coming from Stack Overflow or a coworker, and when you paste it into your repository, you have like to adjust variable names or a few things to make sure that the code works well. And adaptive paste will essentially do that for you because it will understand your coding style and it will try to adjust the code so it respects your style.
Yeah, cool. And then something I want to highlight, I love is next edit suggestions. So most of you have used code completions as we were doing the temperature check earlier. But next edit suggestions is basically an upgrade, augmenting your existing code completions activities. So what it does is it will leverage the previous edits you made in your editor and then use that to predict what is the most next likely edits you're going to make. So we all know developing code is not just about writing new code all the time. Sometimes you need to go back, edit things again. So this where next edit suggestions can jump in to help you and speed you up in your editing activities. Yep. So give those features a try. I'd love to hear what y'all think about them.
Yeah. And well, what's next? Well, I'm excited about MCP because that's what I'm working on right now as an engineer. So I'm excited about that. Is there anything you're excited about for what's coming next?
Yeah, definitely. I want to highlight again the bring your own key. Ria, my teammate who announced it earlier in the keynote, where you will be able to bring any model you love personally into Visual Studio. Yep. And then also custom modes and a lot of cool stuff coming up soon.
Nice. All right, that's pretty much for this session. Thank you very much for coming and listening to us, and very thankful the demo actually worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Please stay connected with us, try out the features we demoed today, and then if you have any feedback for us, please post it on the developer community. Our team do a daily triage to go through them, so our tickets will actually arrive all of us. So please give us feedback. We'd love to hear from you all.
And if you have any questions, feel free to come and chat.
Yep. Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.